Hi guys, happy Friday. I don't know for you, but for me, it has been the longest week. I don't know what's happening, but these days are going so slowly. So I am just barely surviving. I am literally hanging on for my dear life for this weekend to just come about. It's obviously Easter coming, so I don't know if anyone's got their Easter eggs yet. I haven't even thought about it, and I honestly hate getting Easter eggs at the last minute because you know that they're like double the price. And oh, it's just terrible. Terrible. Anyway, I have a lot of Easter eggs to get, and I really need to just get on with it. So there we are. So anyway, I hope you guys are more prepared for Easter than I am. I'm very excited for the bank holidays to come about. Love it, love it. I'm really excited. I absolutely have no plans, which I have to say is the best plans. When you have no plans and you have a holiday coming up, ugh, it's just the best. So, guys, in this video, I want to cover Prince Harry's court appearance. So, I don't know where you've been. I don't know if you've been watching the news or following the news or what's happening, but it has been all over the news that this week has been filled with articles on Prince Harry and his court case, and I'm going to break this down. So he had a 4-day court case that started on Monday. So it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it finished yesterday on Thursday. And I should say right now, the judge, I understand, has reserved his or her decision, and that will be delivered in a few weeks, I think, or at least there isn't a date to my knowledge of when that judgment or that decision will be given. So I'll break it all down. Prince Harry has brought a lawsuit against the Daily Mail and I think the Mail on Sunday and their publishers, the Associated Newspapers Limited. So you'll see it referred to in articles as ANL. Now, you may recall there is some history between Harry, Meghan, and the Daily Mail and the Associated Newspapers Limited and the Sunday Mail because Meghan Markle had filed a lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday and Associated Newspapers Limited, ANL, for publishing the letter that she wrote to her father, and that was a lawsuit that she won. And then they appealed, the newspapers appealed, and then she won that. So Harry also has another case against the Mail on Sunday over an article that they published about his security arrangements. And last year, he won damages from the Mail on Sunday after another case that he issued a defamation claim against the Mail on Sunday about an article that they wrote about his military service. So you can gather that from that, that many people say that Harry and Meghan are litigation happy. So they just love issuing lawsuits. They love threatening lawsuits. They love taking people to court, particularly newspapers, for anything that they think is liable or damaging or defamatory. There is a little bit of kind of litigation history when it comes to, in particular, the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, and their publishers Association Newspapers Limited. So again, this is another lawsuit that Harry is bringing against the Daily Mail, Mail on Sunday, and Association Newspapers Limited. So they are the defendants. Harry is the applicant. So Prince Harry has brought the lawsuit with 6 other associates. And so among them is Elton John, Liz Hurley, and Sadie Frost. And there are obviously others. So the reason that Harry and these associates have issued this lawsuit is that they are saying that they are victims of a number of unlawful acts that were carried out by the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday that include things like phone hacking and things like even commissioning, breaking and entering into somebody's private property. So those are just extracts that have been reported from submissions that were made in court. So submissions are when each lawyer talks in court, they make submissions, so they make points to the court. So those are just points that were taken from these submissions, so that they're not all of the allegations, but you can see roughly they're quite serious, right? I mean, they're allegations essentially of criminal acts. Okay. So ANL, the Associated Newspapers Limited, and of course Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday, they of course vehemently deny these allegations. that have been levied at them. So the case is being heard at the Royal Court of Justice, which is the High Court and the Court of Appeal in England and Wales. Okay, so what has happened this week is from Monday to Thursday that this case has been listed for a preliminary hearing. So I don't know for those of you who know much about the law, but obviously when you issue an application to the court, there is a process. So this is just part of that process. So we have a preliminary hearing where there is various applications that are going to be heard by this court before it decides what to do going forward. So in this particular case, there has been various arguments about pieces of the evidence. There has also been an argument on behalf of the defendants, who are the newspapers and the publishers, that Harry's case should be thrown out. And obviously, Harry and his associates will want this case to proceed to trial, right? They want their day in court. They want their application to be successful, and they want damages, and they want retribution, right? They want a judgment. They want a judge to say that they are right and to find that the other side has acted in an unlawful way. So they want the case to proceed to trial. Now, the Associated Press and the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday obviously want to stop the case and say that this should not proceed to trial, and then give their reasons why. So the information that I have is just from what I've read on the news, okay? I didn't attend the trial, and I don't know anything about the trial other than what I've read in these newspapers. Okay, so it's a preliminary hearing of 4 days with various legal argument. And day one was Monday of this week. So I came across this article in New York Post because it shows this video, and if I can just expand it. Okay, I don't know why that's there, but okay, so this is outside the court building. So the Royal Court of Justice is on this side, so on the right-hand side of, if you're looking at the video. And then there you can see a police van. And this is a main road. So if you see that building over there on the left, that's actually in the middle of the road, if that makes sense. So there's two sides to that road, right? So obviously the traffic goes down one way, and then on the other side it goes down the other way. And along this, so this is a main road. So along this road, there are shops, there are small supermarkets, cafes, food places, bookshops, tailor shops, and various other buildings. And on this side where these two police officers are standing, that is the main entrance to the court building, okay? Now, this court building is like something out of Harry Potter. It has various entrances. When I mean various, I mean it's got side entrances. It's got entrances where you can be somewhat private. And then you've got this main entrance, which is on the main road. And there's massive crossings in front of the court building. So I think there's a massive zebra crossing, and there's a couple of zebra crossings along this road. So it's a main road, okay? So in this taxi, right, you will find Prince Harry. So Prince Harry arrives at the front of the building in a taxi with, I think, his solicitor, his lawyer, not necessarily his advocate in court, but his lawyer. I think it is anyway, I might be wrong, or might be an assistant in the law firm. And I believe his security. So let's just watch this for a moment.
Fucking.
So you might have heard that person, on the person who's holding the camera, I think he said a profanity because it was actually a surprise. So no one actually knew that he was going to attend this court hearing, and no one knew that he was going to arrive here on Monday. Now, if you see here, this is a press pack, okay? So there is a press pack standing in front of the court entrance on the main road. And out comes on the main road in a taxi, Prince Harry. Prince Harry takes the main entrance route through the press pack to get into the court building. Okay, so let's carry on.
You've said it's your duty to. What do you hope to achieve?
So as you can see, it's a main road, there's buses and so forth. And can you see this press pack? So you can see from the reaction of the photographers and indeed their remarks, their profanities, that they were quite shocked and surprised that he turned up. So this was straight away in the news because everyone was surprised to see him just get out of a taxi from the front entrance of the court and walk through the press pack. And I saw it reported in quite a few places because people were like, well, what is he doing here? Right? Because firstly, it's a preliminary hearing. So it's been reported that allegedly he didn't even need to attend. He wasn't even required to attend. And even if he was required to attend, or even if he wasn't required to attend and he wanted to attend, my personal view is that if he's domiciled or he's living in another country, i.e., the United States, then surely he could have asked the court permission to attend by video. You know, I don't know whether that was requested and refused, but it would seem quite harsh, would it not, that a judge would say, no, you've got to fly all the way over to the United Kingdom to attend a hearing that apparently you don't even need to attend. So it seems a bit odd. It also seems odd that he went through the front entrance of the court and not the side entrance, like I understand the other celebrities did. So it seems really odd that day one, he rocks up in a taxi and goes through the front entrance on a main road and goes right through a press pack. This is the guy who says privacy, privacy. This is the guy who says, you know, I see a click of a camera or I hear a click of a camera and that flashing light and it brings me back to all this trauma. And he just walks straight through these cameras. It seems odd. And so to me, it seems like he wanted the attention. It seems like he wanted to make an entrance. It seems like he wanted all of that press attention. And the reasons why could be a number of reasons. I mean, some people say this is just now a media hungry guy, that he's now taken on, you know, the LA lifestyle, the Hollywood lifestyle, the paparazzi lifestyle, you know, always in the center of attention, always on the front page of the news. And that he's, you know, now he's like Meghan Markle, always smiling in front of the camera, smiling, being followed by the paparazzi in LA and all these eateries and all these famous hotspots. And he's kind of caught on to that lifestyle. Now look at him kind of grinning and smiling, you know, like, look, like this. Grinning and smiling at the camera. You know, people were saying he looked really cocky, that he looked really smug. So yeah, and I've seen it reported that, well, perhaps he wants to show how important this case is to him. Therefore, he made an appearance. Therefore, he made the effort to fly all the way from Montecito, California, to arrive at this court case. He wanted to show people what was important to him, which is remarkable, really, because there's been other things that he hasn't flown over for. So it seems a bit bizarre that this is his priority and not other things. Like, for example, when Prince Philip was in hospital, or for Prince Philip's memorial, or to go and see his grandmother who was passing away. So it seems odd, but hey, he's entitled to his priorities. And there we are. And I'm only reporting on what's out there. So I don't know what goes on in the family and I might have all the facts wrong. So, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I've also seen it reported that because this case is important to him, maybe he wants to bring attention to the case. So people have said, well, it's only a preliminary hearing, what the heck? But actually, it's now blown up in the media, and perhaps it's blown up because he's made it blown up. So he's bringing attention and bringing spotlight to this particular case, to the issues in this case, so that it's in the forefront of the public's mind because it is plastered all over the newspapers because he brings that kind of attention with him wherever he goes. I've also seen it reported that perhaps it's a PR stunt, right? Because, you know, there has been a sense that Harry and Meghan are trying a kind of new PR move. Now we're seeing them sort of doing separate projects, and we don't often see them together so much in public, other than these sort of paparazzi shots when they're out on date nights or receiving awards together. But they're going off and they're doing their own projects, and they're not arm in arm or hand in hand, salt and pepper always together, all of that business, all of the shots where they're looking at each other and looking into each other's eyes, or one person's talking and the other person's staring at them in admiration. Like, we're not seeing so much of that as we did when they were in the royal family. So people are saying, well, perhaps they are changing their PR strategy. And so this might be a part of the PR strategy, because Harry is trying to portray that he is some kind of savior, that he is adamant that it's his life work to change the British media, to somehow save this country from this corrupted criminal media. And, we know he has a thing about the British media, and it's a real big shame. It's a real big shame because he needs the media, right? He needs it, good or bad. He needs the media, and he relies on the media, and his wife relies on the media, good or bad, and he has had various things like, for example, when he was in Afghanistan, that was not reported anywhere, and the press kept that under wraps. And I believe it was an article in an Australian newspaper or an Australian reporter that broke the story that he was in Afghanistan, he had to be taken out. So that, again, wasn't British press, but the British press kept all of that quiet. It's also been reported that perhaps he'd always planned to attend this court hearing and always planned this kind of arrival on Monday, even though nobody knew about it. So it was kind of secretive. But he had always planned it because Monday was supposed to be the day that King Charles and Queen Camilla were supposed to be in France on a state visit. And it was supposed to be this like big deal. Some people say, well, he had planned this entrance and planned to attend on this day to take the limelight off of his father on something that was supposed to be an important trip and an important day, so that Harry would be all over the newspapers and all over the front pages, and Charles wouldn't. Now, the royal visit to France was cancelled, in fact, because there has been protests in France. And on Wednesday, Charles was in Germany. So it's odd because I do not think Harry attended court on Wednesday. But he did attend on Tuesday, but he attended through the side entrance. So anyway, so here's Harry. And you'll see this article basically sets out some of the detail of what I've already told you. No, but it says here, absolutely nobody was expecting this, because really there was no need for Prince Harry to be appearing in court this week. So you can see him there. This is his arrival on Monday, that surprising arrival. And you can see there, seems quite happy. So it says, he didn't actually need to go through the main entrance here, she said. The unnecessary fanfare the privacy-loving prince sparked. He clearly does want to make it known that this is very important to him, she said of the lawsuit being debated. And then this is interesting here, because this paragraph here is referring to Harry's lawsuit against the UK government, because he is wanting to be provided with royal protection whenever his family and he are in the UK, and he wants to be able to pay for that royal protection. Now, the royal protection is paid for by the taxpayer, and there isn't a system whereby a private individual who is rich, right, is able to buy that royal protection. but Harry is suing the government on that. So that's relevant because he is saying that I don't feel safe. My family are not safe. He's alleging that there are right-wing extremists that have threatened his wife. And so they do not feel safe in the UK. And yet he arrives in a taxi in a main road in front of a court building. And he and his family have been to the UK on a number of occasions. And I'm just going to leave it there. You can make up your mind on that. I mean, that I've seen it reported that this lawsuit is nonsense about his security and it's all about his status. If he has royal protection, then it's all about just enhancing his status as the son of the king and prince and his family, Duke and Duchess of Sussex and Prince and Princess of... And I still don't believe that any right-wing extremist is going to even find their way to wherever Harry and Meghan are. It just doesn't make sense to me, because if they're with the family and they're at royal events, then obviously there's royal protection. I can't just rock up to Westminster Abbey and sit myself in the middle of a coronation. It just doesn't make sense. And then obviously when they're in their private capacity, how can anyone get you? I don't know. Like, you're either in Frogmore Cottage, which is on the grounds of Windsor, which has royal protection anyway, or you're in Buckingham Palace, which has royal protection anyway, or you're in Kensington Palace, which has royal protection anyway, or you're with your cousin Eugenie, who I would imagine it lives somewhere quite remote, because I don't even know where she lives. So you know what I mean? This isn't LA, where Harry and Meghan are seen packed by the paparazzi coming out of Pizza Express on King's Road, like just going out for a bite to eat with their friends. That does not happen. So I don't know. Okay, I don't know of any press pack, of any paparazzi pack that have followed these guys, snap, 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 like they have in LA. So I don't know what happened. So I don't know. He doesn't feel safe. His wife doesn't feel safe. Okay, that they're entitled to that feeling. I'm not so convinced, but they're entitled to that. Okay, so going back to this lawsuit and what it's all about, Alfie, I've seen bits and pieces. Obviously, you're not supposed to kind of go into detail about a lawsuit because there's legal reasons. So I'm just going to tell you what I've seen in these news articles. And, if it's out and about there in the press, then I really don't see what the problem is. So I've read that some of the allegations go back to 1993 to 2011, and some of them go from 2018 or something and beyond then. So some of them are recent, some of them are really historical. And my understanding is that there's a statute of limitations, meaning that you've got 6 years to bring a case. 6 years of when you were, I believe it's reasonably known, it is reasonable for you to have known, that this has happened. So it's 6 years. So I would think, and I would imagine, that some of this stuff is not going to wash. So I imagine that some of the legal argument that's been taking place is that the defendants are probably going to say, some of this needs to come out, if not all of it. I mean, they're obviously arguing that it shouldn't proceed to trial anyway, but I would suspect that they're going to be saying to wipe out some of these allegations because they're out of time. And I understand that the defendants made an application to anonymize some of the names of the journalists to protect their privacy and to protect their reputation. It's obviously ironic, I know, okay? It's obviously ironic, and they're relying on, human rights, blah, blah, blah. And I know it's ironic because the whole thing is about an invasion of privacy and unlawful acts and blah, 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 blah. It's just silly. I mean, I can't even find the right words to articulate this because it's so ridiculous. But okay, they won that point. So I think at the moment, the journalists' names are going to be anonymized. I don't know whether that's going to be the case going forward if this case does go forward. But the defendants have won that first application. And then, as I understand it, one of the other issues was this witness statement of Gavin Burrows, who was I'm not sure, a private investigator. And he apparently signed a witness statement that was quite lengthy in 2021, where he has allegedly made all these admissions about things that he used to do in order to obtain information. And I understand that that's what Harry and his associates are relying on. However, Mr. Burrows has also now issued a statement saying that he denies that he was ever instructed or commissioned by the Daily Mail or the Mail on Sunday to conduct unlawful information gathering on their behalf. So he's now recanted on what he had previously allegedly said. And so you can imagine that the defendants are going to say or have said that this evidence is so unreliable and it just needs to be thrown out. And so then if that is thrown out, then what's left? I don't know. Okay, so there's obviously, other points that have been made and other arguments and other submissions that have been made to the court, which obviously I'm not privy to, and I'm only going by what I've seen in the news. So the judge will obviously deliver his decision as to whether or not this lawsuit should proceed to trial or whether it should now be dismissed, and also the other issues about evidence and so forth. So yeah, there we are. So it has also been reported, as you can see here, according to the Telegraph, Harry made contact with his estranged dad ahead of his trip home, but he was told the king was busy. So first of all, why is this being reported? Where has this information come from? Is it being given by Harry's camp? And if it is, why? Is it necessary? Is it necessary for the news to have every single detail of what goes on? Oh, I tried to speak to my brother. I tried to speak to my dad, and they didn't want to speak to me. They were busy. Oh, I got an email from my dad's office in relation to the coronation. Like, nobody, we don't need to know this stuff. Why is it coming out? Who is giving this information? It may not be Harry, but I mean, I don't know. I would be surprised if it's not, because who has that kind of information? He's tried to contact his dad and his dad said he was busy. We don't need to know that stuff, okay? And he's busy because you were working role. The guy is king. These diaries are booked months in advance. He was supposed to be in France, okay? And even if he's not supposed to be in France, they've a million of other things that they put in place if stuff gets cancelled, and he's in Germany. And that it's the Easter holidays. That your brother and his wife and his kids are off somewhere. Fancy that, somewhere private that we don't know about. Fancy that you can have a private life, even being senior members of the royal family, and they're not being hounded by the paparazzi on holiday. I mean, heaven forbid that that's even possible. Obviously, Kate and William are showing otherwise. So they've gone off somewhere with their beautiful family off on holiday. So that, Harry, that. I don't really know why these little things, these little bits end up in the news. And it might not necessarily be from him. And if it is, then if it's not, then I'm sorry. But I find it really annoying when you see these little, we received an email from the King's office in relation to the coronation, and we are not going to yet report whether we are attending. Why do you need to report that stuff? And even after the Oprah interview, when Gayle King, for God's sakes, of all people, who is this person, in America, reports, I've been told that there's been a phone call between his father and him and Harry and his brother, and it hasn't been successful. Oh, excuse me? First of all, who are you? Who are you in relation to this royal family? You are nothing. Who are you? And secondly, like, why is this being reported? It's ridiculous. It's so minutiae. It's minutiae, it's personal, it's private. We do not need to know these little things. I don't need to know every time you contacted your dad and he was busy. He's the King of England. Oh my God. And also, I think it's quite worrying that there's been bits and pieces in the press about Harry's visa in America. And you know how he made all these drug disclosures. Oh, I've used drugs here, I've used drugs here, blah, blah, blah. And there's been some nonsense in the news about, oh, will that jeopardize his visa? Will he not be allowed to remain in America? Will he not be allowed to enter? I mean, call me gullible. Okay, but I live in the real world. And there's no way in the real world that a Prince of England, multi-millionaire, is going to be held to the same standard as the average Joe who's filling out an American visa application. I don't even think that he's got an American visa application. He was just like tapped on the shoulder by President Biden, and you know what I mean? It's just, it seems ridiculous. I can't imagine Harry sitting there printing off his bloody visa application and filling in, right, first name, middle name, what's my passport number? It just seems to me so ridiculous. He must have some sort of diplomatic, I don't even know, some special arrangement, special this, special that. And these people that are like, I want to know, how did he fill in his visa application? And did he get special treatment? If he did, it's against the law. You know, God bless you. God bless you that you're trying. But honestly, I would be alarmed if this man can't return back into the country. Okay, I would be alarmed if he can't return back to the United States of America. I would be alarmed. So some nonsense about, oh, he's here and is he going to be allowed to return back to America, and why did he come if there's these question marks over his visa, and is he here because maybe there's issues with his visa. I don't believe it. If I don't believe it until I see it, okay? Until I see it. So obviously there's the rest of the article here, so please do read it because I only ever sort of refer to bits of it. So, you know, please excuse me. But I wanted to look at this other article because this is so ridiculous. So this article is the Express, and it's actually talking about Harry's fashion. And it's saying that he was wearing an £800 B shirt from Dior in London, looking fine and dapper. And royal fans were basically tweeting that, you know, like for example, this person, Parry K 1922, tweeted from TK Maxx with no sense of fashion to looking fine and dapper in Dior. Meghan upgraded her man, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. And then this person, Pretty Woman One, added, oh, he's looking good. And then Michaela Helena commented, amazing, what a good suit can do. I love it. And then it's got the little Dior thing there. It says la 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 la. And then Royal Fan at Nevermind PT2 wrote, the guy looks proper expensive, well-tailored suit and shoes that don't have holes in them. He married up. So I mean, okay. And then it goes on to talk about crafted in luxurious and soft white cotton poplin. The shirt is enhanced by bee embroidered with 18-karat gold thread. I mean, okay. What all of this, he married up, he married up, he married up. Excuse me. He's a prince of England. What are you talking about? What is all this nonsense about holes in his shoes? I don't really understand. I mean, for God's sakes, married up. Basically, he just looks like he's in a basic black suit. I really don't get it. Yeah, he's in Dior. I would have really loved if he had rocked up with some sort of British label, but oh well, whatever. You know, so much for promoting the British fashion industry. It's fine. I don't, you know, want to expect too much from you, bro. But this whole leveled up thing, a married up thing, you know, have you seen Meghan Markle like 15 years ago and you looked at her fashion before she had money? Please. And then she's only got the fashion that she's got because she's got money. And where did the money come from? Let me think. Marrying into the royal family. Oh God. Anyway, it's so funny. People give credit where credit is not owed. So yeah, I just wanted to mention this article because it was just so ridiculous. People talking about Harry's fashion in court. God, okay. And I wanted to play this video from Sky News because this, I believe, is the second day of the court hearing. You see, it's quite a rainy, and you see it's quite a rainy day. But this is the second day of the court hearing, and you can see that Harry turns up in his Land Rover with his security. And I think this is, in fact, the side entrance of the court. So weirdly, the second, and I think he attended the second and the fourth day, so I don't think he attended the third day, but I'm not sure. But it's odd that the second and the third, or second or the fourth day, he turns up at the side entrance of the course. I think this is the side entrance. So yeah, a bit odd that on the first day he makes this kind of massive appearance coming out of a taxi, which is kind of a bit more incognito, right? Nobody knew who was in that taxi, but obviously a Land Rover, kind of blacked out Land Rover, people think, that's someone very important. So it almost seems as though it sort of adds to the drama that he arrived at the front entrance in a taxi on the first day. And I think now, the second and last day, he's sort of chilled out and is just turning up at the side. So I think this is the side entrance, as you can see. I mean, at least it looks different to where he arrives on the first day. So I'm guessing it's a different entrance. Oh, that's nice of him to say stay dry, to be honest. I have a thing about how he appears, and to some extent his wife. They have this aura that they are more superior than they really are, and that they are very entitled. Um, I don't know. Maybe some of it comes from his inferior complex that he has to his brother. I don't know. Maybe it comes from his own privilege of being the son of a king and therefore has always been treated, or a grandson of the queen, and has always been treated as someone really important. And so I guess it's really hard to let go of that. I don't know. But yeah, so here's Harry. I think this is the last day. So this is the third, no, the fourth day, sorry. And you can see from here, again, there's some details about the case. So this article actually details sort of more of the background, meaning that there's been some sort of history into allegations of unlawful acts by various journalists and private investigators. You'll see here it's referring to um, phone hacking first coming to public knowledge in 2006, when it was leaked that a tabloid that was owned by Rupert Murdoch's news group, newspapers, so NGN, were arrested and later convicted of accessing voicemails on mobile phones of royal aides. And then obviously 5 years later, Murdoch shut the paper down, and that led to editors and others being jailed, and a public inquiry into press standards, and millions of pounds being paid in damages by NGN and another newspaper group. And Associated, which is the Associated Newspapers Limited, they've always denied that they've ever been involved in these type of legal practices, as it says there. So yeah, so at least from what I've read and what I've heard, there seems to be a difference in the way in which the press have dealt with public figures now compared to decades ago. You know, like particularly when Harry's mum was still alive, and the way in which the press had access to personal information, or the way in which the paparazzi acted, I understand is very different to now. So yeah, you know, good luck to him. Okay, guys, well, I'm just going to end it there. I'll be very excited to see what the outcome of this case is. I personally think that it will probably go to trial. And my prediction is that the judge will streamline the issues as to what is discussed at trial. He will probably get rid of some of the historical stuff that is out of date in terms of when a claim could have been brought. And I think that there will probably be argument at trial as to the evidence. And so I think the judge ultimately will list it for trial. But let's see. Let's see. So, guys, comment in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on this case. I mean, yeah, you know, I know there's a lot of criticism of Harry because he's basically invaded so many people's privacy, hasn't he? By, you know, his book Spare and the Netflix documentary. And, you know, he's invaded the privacy of his family members, of friends. You're talking about drugs in Courtney Cox's fridge, for God's sakes. So, yeah, he has allegedly invaded the privacy of other people. I get that. But illegal acts, yeah, I think this is a whole different kettle of fish. And I don't think that anyone needs to suffer that kind of behavior and just take it. So, you know, good luck to him. Okay. But what I will say is that, you know, how many lawsuits do these guys need to bring? It's such an expense. I mean, their lawsuits are probably in the region of millions, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds in terms of legal costs. And the people that are winning are the lawyers, because the lawyers are pocketing this money and the lawyers are getting the notoriety and the fame. In my view, having any even if a person was to have one lawsuit in their lifetime, that is so stressful, so traumatic. It causes so much anxiety and impact on your mental health. You're putting so much control in terms of your life in a stranger's hands, right? In a judge's hands. And that can make or break your life. And the fact that they bring so many lawsuits is just, it's too much. And I really wish this guy peace, but going in and out of court and having stuff plastered all over the media and trying to take the media to court, and it's all well and good suing them over criminalized behavior or alleged criminalized behavior, but I hope that he's not somebody who is trying to control a free press, because you can't do that. Okay, you can't be suing people or having vendettas against people because they report negatively about you or they hold you to account, because a free press is important for a democracy. So I really hope that's not what they're trying to do, and they're not trying to make a point and trying to have a power play. I really hope that that's not what they're trying to do, and that genuinely this is being brought because of the allegations of the criminal behavior. Because it's a crucial part of a democracy to have free press, particularly who can hold people of power and people who are very wealthy and influential. It can hold them to account. And the people rely on the press for access to information and the truth, or at least different versions of the truth and different pieces of information upon which they can make their decisions. And so all I will say is I really hope that they can live in a peaceful way whereby they're not always in and out of court, trying to make a point, trying to get vengeance, trying to secure their reputation, trying to go on some sort of rampage, because they're never going to find peace and happiness if that's what they're doing. If they're trying to pick every little article, every little story, and go for it and sue them and make a point and set an example, it's just not that to me doesn't sit well. And I wish them peace, and I hope that they don't spend the rest of their living lives in and out of courtrooms. So yeah, so anyway, good luck to both of them. Good luck to Harry and his associates, and yeah, I look forward to seeing the outcome of this case. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do comment on what you think about this case, what you think about Harry and Meghan always litigating. Please do put something in the comments, because I'd love to then do another video and talk about some of the comments. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please help me to reach 1,000 followers. That would be great. And yeah, like and subscribe, guys. So thank you so much, and I wish you all a blessed weekend. Take care, guys. Bye.